Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer card game review. Today's game up top is called Iron Curtain by Jolly Rogers Games and Ultra Pro Entertainment. This game is for 2 players, approximately ages 13 and up, takes about 20 minutes to play. In the game Iron Curtain, you're going to be playing as one of the 2 forces, the USSR or the United States forces, and you're going to be trying to control for domination with this little card here. In the game, you're going to be getting 2 different rounds of combat, so to speak, and you're going to get 5 cards for the first round and 4 cards for the second. On your turn, you're going to be playing a single card down. You're going to be trying to vie for control. When you play your opponent's cards, they get to do an ability, and you get to perform one of the actions, and then vice versa. Or if you play your own card, you get to choose from the 2 actions. As you go throughout the game, you're trying to compete for ideology, and if you can meet the tracker on your end of the board, if you're the United States, you'll go this side. If you're in USSR, you go this side. Whoever gets there first wins. If not, at the end of the game, whoever has the most ideology is the winner. Let me go ahead and show you what the game looks like. Okay, so here we have Iron Curtain, the Cold War style game, and to begin the game, you're going to have 2 separate piles for the USSR and the United States forces. There's 2 rounds in the game. The first round, you get 5 cards dealt from the deck, and the second round, you're going to have a set of 4. I've gone ahead and set that up already. There's also a starter card here with influence points based on the little trackers here. It tells you what you need, 1 red, 1 blue, as well as your ideology tracker here. It starts in the middle. If at any point the red, this yellow marker gets to the blue area here, then the United States wins, and vice versa, the USSR wins, and this is for scoring at the end of the game. To start the game off, every player's got their 5 hand of cards, and they're going to then look at it themselves, so only they actually get to see the cards here. And they're going to start by the USSR playing first. The USSR is always going to start the game off first. And the USSR player will get to play any card next to the starting card. It can be up, down, right, or left of the card here. So the first card he can play here is simply Iran. And when you play a card that is the same type as you, which shows the type of the card right here, you will then be able to choose between this ability or commanding these points here, these influence points. If you want, you can pick up a card with all of its influence cubes and place it somewhere else as normal, which I probably won't be doing. And then I could then place my influence cubes here. Now you can only place a command, you can only command influence in a space that is adjacent to another space that already has influence of your chosen type. After that, your turn is then over. Now, this is the United States turn. The United States is going to play a Europe card, and Europe has to attach to Europe. Whenever you play a card, it has to attach to another one. And also, when you play your opponent's type of card, your opponent will get to actually get the ability down below, which says it gains 1 ideology point. So it would move its tracker up 1, and then the command ability would take place, and that would be the only ability that the United States can play because it's not his card. So he'll get to command a point here, ideology point, or influence point here. After that, it would move on to the next player here, another card. We'll go ahead and place it right here. For East Germany, it's another USSR card, so he'll get to actually choose between the 2 abilities. He can gain 1 ideology point and then may infiltrate 2 influence cubes. So he'll probably be doing that. Whoop, ideology point, and then infiltrate. Infiltrate can be placed anywhere on the map that he wants to, so he probably placed 1 here and 1 there, because he's trying to get as much board control as possible. However, he could have chose the command ability by placing 4 command cubes here, but he liked this idea better. Then the next player is going to get to go. He'll place this card here, which is Anguria, Africa. And once again, it's still the Reds card here, so he's going to be having to let USSR command 4 influence cubes into Europe. So 4 more influence cubes will be commanded, and it can be any of these spots here because it's all adjacent. So he will go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's commanded all those cubes in, and then the blue player will get to command as well. However, because it's not adjacent to one that he's occupied currently, he has to choose between the ones he is. Unfortunately, with the command ability, because there's at least 2 or more cubes in those spots, it'll cost him 1 cube that will have to count as 2. So if he wants to place it over here, he will lose out on this 1 cube because their opponent has 2 more than him, 2 or more than him, and then his third one he can place it here, which will then make it tied. Okay, so now it is the red player's turn now, and they'll get to choose between his cards, and he will play this card here. Now this will indicate scoring, because as you see the right-hand side of these cards is a number here, and it says 2, and that equals to the amount of different types of cards that are in the game of the specific color. As soon as you place the last card of the specific color, which is for the Middle East, scoring begins. And it's going to be looked at as to who has the most influence on each card. So in this case, it'd be a tie, but if red was winning, he would get 2 on the ideology tracker, and if red was winning, he'd get 2 on the ideology tracker, and vice versa. It would be blue, it would be like that. But because there's no differentiation, it doesn't move, and because this one was just played, it doesn't count. So then you would also tally up the total amount, whoever has the most occupied. So if it looked kind of like this, then blue would get 2 points, plus 2 more, plus 1 for total control, which would be 5. Really powerful. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But because that's not happening, it's just a moot point. Nothing actually gets done here, and it freezes until the end of the game, where actually scoring will begin, and players will just keep continuously playing cards. But remember also, too, after you play this card, the United States still gets to do his ability. It may infiltrate 3 influence cubes if USSR is ahead on ideology, which it is, so it gets to infiltrate 3. 1, 2, 3. And then the USSR gets to place his 3. And the game will continue like that, scoring whenever sets are completed, as well as doing your infiltrate abilities and your command abilities, moving your influence tracker up, and moving around the cards in different cubes as you like when playing these cards. After all of these are played, there's going to be 2 left over. So in this case, these 2 would get played somewhere, and you'd put the... you would score or whatever, put the stuff on. And the last 2 cards would be put somewhere secretly underneath this little tracker here, the influence tracker here, or the ideology tracker here. Then the next round would begin, and the same steps would apply until scoring. Let me go ahead and get into scoring with you. So we progress through time, and we finish the second round of play. We're going to now go into scoring. So these have all been scored once, and now we're going to score them again, along with the 2 cards from the first round that we didn't play. If we look at it, we're going to look at the US and the USSR and differentiate the cubes. There's 2 here and 1 here, so USSR has more, so it gets 1 cube. Then these go away, and they're done. These cubes are irrelevant as well. Now we're going to go along this A tracker here and start scoring points for each different type. First, we're going to look at Europe here. We have red with 1 domination over here, and then we have tie here, and blue has 2 over here. So it's 6 points here, and it's 3 points here. So you 6 minus 3, 5, 4, 3, plus the total is 4 points goes to Europe here. For the United States for Europe. Then we move on to the Iran and Israel, the Middle East over here. The USSR is tied here and has more here, so that's 2 points plus 1 more for the total being 3. Then we're going to move on down to Asia here, and we're going to look, okay, so we get blue over here, and this is a tie. So this is, they have more here, USSR has more here, and all together it's a tie, so it doesn't move. 4 over here, USSR has 1 and 2, minus the 1 from blue here, with 1 plus the total is 2, moving it back up. Finally, over here, we look at this one by itself, plus 2 points for the USSR for having it here, plus 1 for the total, even though the other one isn't present, going 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to look at the last one over here, which is South America. Blue gets the plus 1 as well as the total, which is plus 2. After that's all done with, you're going to look at the ideology tracker right here and determine who is closer along on ideology, which is going to be USSR. It's close by 1 more point, which would mean that the red player is the winner for this game. Okay, so guys, that's how you play the game Iron Curtain by Jolly Roger Games and Ultra Pro. Fairly simple game to explain, but very, very complex in the type of strategy it is. When I first saw this game, I was like, "Where's the game? I don't see a game. This box is like 3 times larger than the game box needs to be." I mean, realistically, you could fit everything in pretty much this little box here if you wanted to, but it came in this big box, so I don't know what that says about it, but whatever. For instance, what is interesting though is the fact that this game is actually very complex and very in-depth. The first time I played it, I was sitting there going, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't figure this out, and I started I was almost to the point really disliking this game. But my friend who had played it a couple times before, and he's like, just play it again, and I played it 2, 3 times, and oddly enough, as I continued to play the game, I started to see the complexities and how the strategy works within it, and how you can make different placement aspects, as well as infiltrating and how that works compared to commanding, how you want to score points, and which ones you want to save at the end of the first round. The game's quick and simple, but you're going to lose if you don't know what you're doing, and the more you play this game, the more in-depth you can get, and the better strategy you can kind of involve in this game. It's a deep thinker, it really is, and the game can take a fairly long time, just even though you're only placing down not 8 cards in the entire game. So that being said, you have to really think about whether this game is for you or not. However, I was pleasantly surprised as I continued to play this game. It literally went from, if I were to do a 10 scale, which I normally don't do, it was like a 3 for me, as how much I liked it. But then, as I continued to play it, it went to a 5, and then to a 7, and then to an 8. I think that's where it stopped right there. And I was like, oh wow, this is really good. And we played again, and we played again, and I'm just like, oh, I understand how this game works, and I understand the different terminologies and how they function and all that. And yeah, it was just fun. I really enjoyed this game. And it's one of those games where I can just pick up and teach, and we can play. I stomp the stuffing out of you the first game or two, and then as you continue, you'll eventually beat me because most people are pretty intelligent and know how to play games better than I do. Just a fact of life. Nevertheless, though, a fun little game. The artwork is fairly simple. It's Google Maps, basically, right? But what is here is nice for the game, and I think you can definitely see the complexity and the amount of time and effort and dedication put into this game to make sure that it is definitely a mind bender for such a small, unique little game. Iron Curtain by Jolly Rogers Games and Ultra Pro.